was enough, I'd smile all the time. Beyond the best of me, there's more than meets the eye.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Beyond the Self. I'm with Cambell from Autodidactic. I'm Lorenzo from The New Now. Today, we're doing a surprise recording that neither of us expected because it's being called to us, it's being felt, and it's being required in this day and age. Bugs in the System, Part 2, Debugging the Mind. Hey, Cambell.
How you going, Lorenzo? Yes. Debugging the mind. We all have the concept of bugs as far as, the Secret Service and all these spies who go around bugging people so they can listen in on them. But bugging the mind, bugs in the mind, we were talking about the word information. And it's very interesting, isn't it? Because, you can learn all this knowledge, we'll call it, but unless you fall in formation, right? Unless you fall in line, it's not accepted as anything, right? Because you've got to trust the science, right? So this is the thing about bugs in the system is you can learn all this stuff, but the system will still tell you you're wrong unless you fall in line, right? In formation with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about like what you get in your mind is what you create in your life. Like we're all of a kind as humans on the planet, in that we go to school, we follow along with similar media patterns. We've all watched stupid news as we grew up, magazines, TV, Hollywood shows, all of those things. And they all give you information, right? Whether it's information that's supposedly real, like let's say Einstein or Tesla or Alexander Bell or George Washington, Hitler and Walt Disney, et cetera, et cetera. And we've all got this information. But if you consider the source of this information, has any of it to any of you come firsthand? Right? For most of us, we hear about, let's say, Hitler, Disney, George Washington, etc., all of the people I mentioned, it's 10th hand, 20th hand, 30th hand. Like there's no way any of us have ever met any of these people. I mean, I don't even know my own history from my own family, from my own father, talking to him going back. So how in heaven's name can any of us fully understand or trust or believe if you use your conscious intelligence, if you use your reason to reason this out? And it's not even a jump of intelligence to sit down and go, well, I've never met them. All the information comes from sources. Who made and created these sources? I'm not sure. Everyone knows government is untrustworthy. Everyone on these channels anyways. Everyone knows the major media is untrustworthy, even the publishing industry. And I've tried to break into that, and I've talked with people that have tried to break into that, whether it's the music, publishing, information, TV. And everyone who has ever tried has found, much to their chagrin, if you're trying to publish something real, if you're trying to share something of intelligence, if you're trying to get some information out to help, I don't like to use the word wake, but if you're trying to help people become strong, independent, and free, well, you're going to find roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and chances are you're not going to succeed because something is stopping real stuff from coming out. So if this something is stopping real stuff from coming out, well, what gets here, whether it's in, a school book or a TV show or a documentary or the History Channel or Ancient Aliens or whatever, all this other BS, poo-poo crap, you got to know, probably, in my guesses, at the very least, it's suspect as being honestly truthful and helpful to you. And I mean everything.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Columbus is a good one, right? Good example. We're all told he was true, but now there's so much research saying
Cambell froze a bit, but yeah, nothing seems to be true. And what's really interesting is, as soon as Cambell and I start talking about some of these real things, the bugs seem to jump in our system.
Yeah, exactly right.
So
Bugs in the internet as well as our mind.
So you were saying?
I was saying, I just got the picture in my mind of the army. You have all the people, all the privates or whatever, and they're all standing in formation, right? And they're all lining up, doing what they're told by the system who's up the front yelling at them, right? No, no, no. And as long as they do that and they do what they're told, they're great, right? They're put up there a good soldier, they get to go forward. But the ones that don't agree with that are standing out of line or something, they get locked away so that they can't infect the others, right? That's what happens to us. Like when we don't fall into line with the narrative, the current narrative, we see it, especially what's happening now. Our views are repressed. We're not allowed to get them out because, we become the bug in their system, in their information. And we also just looked up the meaning of informer, right? Because obviously, if we're getting information, it's from someone informing us. And an informer, one of the parts of that word is you get paid
Oh,
for the
interesting.
information. So, we were talking about the word teacher, right? And teach is not a good word anyway, because that's like do as I say. But they're actually informers. They're getting paid to tell us and our children certain information because same thing with them. If they don't fall in line in formation with everyone else, they don't teach. They lose their job. We've seen this. Look at the US at the moment with their colleges and what's happening.
Mm.
All the people that can think for themselves and teach others to think. No, they're getting rid of them because you've got to fall in line. You've got to fall in formation with the information.
Yeah, and hearing Sam the Rooster in the background, it's all about, in many ways, about waking up and understanding. And what Campbell mentioned, this is just a simple exercise in noticing on the outside, everything is probably crap when it comes to you. Second, third, fourth, fifth hand, like who knows? Who knows? People tell me, well, Einstein discovered this and Tesla was like that. And this is how this goes. And this person's disclosing. We talked about some disclosure, Campbell and I, before we got on. But have you met any of these people? Have you looked in their eyes? Have you shaken hands with them? Have you had dinner? Have you spent time with tea and crumpets or had a beer with them? Whatever it is you feel like doing, to get the feeling of someone. I mean, I've met many politicians, and to me, they're all creepy. I've met many CEOs in my time, and to me, they're all duplicitous and very snaky, slippery, untrustworthy. If somebody's doing something for a reward, and generally, as Campbell said, to get paid for money, for status, even if they're being threatened and their family's life is in jeopardy, so to speak. So it depends what kind of reward you're after. You could be the reward of safety or the reward of gold. I heard somewhere that's how the American government worked, gold or bombs, take your pick. And it seems to me that's how this system works for everybody, right? It's gold or fears or payments or fears. And then you can tell it's suspect just from there, right? And then from that, you can make your own choices as to understanding perhaps all the choices you've made, all the beliefs you've had, whether it's from your parents or your friends or your TV, wherever. It's all suspect, and it's all worth a double, triple, quadruple look just to check yourself and to see if your life is good and you're happy, then you can turn this off and go away, right? But if something, if you've got a gut feeling, as I have, that something was wrong since I was born, since I was little, then maybe there is a bit of let's say a disclosure upon yourself, some information you've missed. You can become your own informant and your own information, and to inform yourself of what is real and what is not real, according to what you've discovered firsthand, I would say.
Yeah. And before we were talking about disclosure, and let me know if I'm wrong, but what we sort of said, has any disclosure ever come true? And when we kind of decided that, in our experience, we haven't heard of any. So 100% of them have never come true. So if you know any, let us know in the comments. But that's interesting, isn't it? Everyone's into disclosure, but we don't have any proof that there's anything to it. And disclosure, dis is against.
Yeah.
Closure is a finality or an end. The whole word is against it's pretty much saying this won't lead you to a finality.
Yeah.
Interesting, right? All these spells that they put around. But information is, like Lorenzo was talking about, we can't trust anything. We got all this stuff. We know it's all certain information that they have to present, or they don't get to present it. But what we need to do is we need to take charge of our information. We need to get our thoughts in line so that they make sense to us. And that's why we need to think about when we're given information. Just don't take it on board and go, oh, it must be true because someone said it, right? Some random person on the TV said this, so it must be. If we all just take, a few minutes to think about things, that makes the world of difference, because it means that you're training yourself so that when you get information, it's just, oh, that's interesting, not, oh, that's the truth. Because if it's the truth, this is how they can get us with fear, right? If everything that they say is true, then they say, oh, look, there's another, fake fight overseas, and everyone believes it's true, and they all get scared, and that's how they create the reality. But if we're like, well, is that true? Are they really doing that? Is that even possible? Then we hit somewhere where we're more discerning about the information that we get.
Yep.
But what I was going to say is, when we get information, if we don't judge it as right or wrong, and just go, that's interesting, then what happens is, as we go through life, we get more information, and it'll link up, and depending on you and your experience, and that's how you get your thoughts in formation. You just give it time, and then you'll come to a conclusion. Okay, look, I think that sounds like it's true, or that sounds like complete BS, but it's yours. It's your decision. It's not someone telling you what is right or wrong. And that's the biggest thing here. We don't want to tell you what's right or wrong, because we don't know what's right or wrong for you. We just want you to ask better questions and ask yourself what's right or wrong for you.
Yeah. And it goes so much deeper. I mean, information, transformation, to be in a trance, to be hypnotized. We're not even going to talk about, the trans movement and any of that other silliness. It's like, what is, and I would like everyone to consider this. What is the measure of your treasure? What do you treasure in life? Right? What do you really find valuable? Right? Is it a bank account? Is it a pocket full of gold? Is it the love in your life? Is it the trust of a friend? Is it the integrity of your community? Like what is it, and why? Right? You collect money maybe to have peace of mind, for security and for your future. You have friends that you can trust because, in times of trouble, as you say, you want to be able to lean on them. You want to be able to trust their advice. You want to be able to grow with them. You want a community that supports you because you want to support it. And again, it always comes down to, why do you want to be in a community? For safety. Why do you want to have a whole bunch of friends you like? For love, safety, information, and what you get, as a human, let's say, as a mammal, as a being, as someone who generally wishes to build with other people, because I think it's in the normal sense of the word, we all like building dreams together. We all want to grow together. We all want to have a good, safe, happy, abundant life. I mean, that comes to the bottom line. And when you find, as I have, that you create this life, right, from what's inside you, it doesn't come from the outside. What you create comes from the inside first. And that's why we're calling this one, debugging the mind. So, everyone's heard garbage in, garbage out, right? You are what you eat. You are what you process, right? If you I've watched in Japan, people get fat because they're eating a whole bunch of bread and stupid things now, and deep fried ho-ho garbage, right? They've taken on the American diet, and then they've taken on the American shape. Quite literally, everyone's becoming, rotund, to say the least, right? Right. And so what you take in is what you give out. So on a food level, everyone can understand that, right? You eat a lot of bad food, you have an unhealthy life. So on an information level, right, what you're letting in, you're creating this kind of life. So, men don't look manly anymore. Women are all getting really unloving looks in their faces, I have to say. They're all getting bossy and pushy, and men are all getting squishy and silly for the most part. I'm not talking about everyone, because not everyone's the same. Everyone has their own, path and goal and potential to do what they need to do. But if you look at that transformation from the information, we're in a reset, right? You can see even the physical characteristics of people change over time. Have you looked at loggers in the 1920s? Have you looked at Australians in the 1900s? Have you looked at these people from the 1890s that were in the wars? You look in their eyes. You look at those old pictures. You tell me they're not motherfuckers. They're not sharp. They're not ready to kill you if you come to take their children or their family or to take their land. And now you have a whole bunch of people. Well, whatever you say, it's all right. Take my kids, put them to school. I just need a beer. Yeah, no, it's all right. Whatever you say, you must know better for me than I know for myself. Just because you've got a nice suit on, or a white coat, or a clipboard and a pen, I mean, it's so much insanity. It makes me crazy if I let it. How stupid you need to be before you realize that somebody knows better for you than you know for yourself, which is insanity at its basis level, I think.
It is. I mean, what's got me, I mean, it's always been education, right? But the last couple of years that we've found out what's actually going on in schools, in primary schools, I mean, why would you send your kid to school?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand some people may not be able to do, take their
Ah,
kid out. You'd want to be making plans and you'd want to be spending a lot of time deprogramming them after school because seriously, this is it. That this is why society is changing because the information has changed. What you're allowed to teach as a teacher has changed, and to the point where if you don't toe the line, if you don't get information with everyone else, you lose your job. And you don't have to look far on YouTube to see all these
mhm.
crazy videos of people losing their minds. And these are college students, 20-year-olds, who've been taught that, they're so oppressed and everyone's against them and oh my
Yeah.
God, this and this and this. And they believe it. And this is the problem. They have never experienced it. And this is what we're seeing now is they're all getting called out, because they're saying one thing and acting another way, or that they're living their life one way and telling everyone to live a different way, right? Um, so this is just total programming, and this is what the big change is because they're just taking stuff as gospel, listening to the experts, trusting the science instead of trusting themselves. Because, like, like I said, it doesn't take a lot of thinking to rip these, new sort of morals that they're trying to spread apart because none of them make sense.
I
They
mean,
just don't.
we can take this so deep. I mean, something that's coming to me now is like, why are white men being attacked for the most part? So you can look at the shadow side of the plus
We're
of
good
things like that.
king,
Like, why do
and
people? I think Campbell's got kind of blue eyes. I can't really tell. Mine are kind of blue.
yeah.
I've heard people with blue eyes are originally part not from this planet. Mostly brown-eyed people are normal here. The people with blue eyes have a bit of the aliens or the gods or whatever in them. So did you ever consider that the people maybe that are being attacked are the ones that have a bit of an attachment to the everything, to the knowledge, to the real way that reality is created? The Vikings, the Norse, supposedly the ones the Germans were going after, the Norse gods and things like that. And there might have been a reason. I mean, maybe, I don't want anyone to get angry, but maybe what was going on in World War II wasn't exactly honest, the story you were told, or World War I, or any of them. I'm going to say my guts are telling me it's all bullshit from, top to bottom. Just as many people were killed in Germany and England as they were killed in Japan and Canada and everywhere. And I think it was just a psyop of a sacrifice to further some sort of nonsense agenda. But that's just my opinion. Uh, so,
Opinions, YouTube.
yeah. So, perhaps it is people like Campbell, people like myself, other strong people that are looking to help their community grow into a new level of understanding what's possible. And the reason they're being attacked and turned into marshmallows or piles of mochi here, which is chewy rice in Japan, is because that is where the true power lays in bringing out this kind of information, such as Campbell and I are sharing today. In that you've got to debug your system because you create your reality. And I don't mean, you make a pizza, and I don't mean you build a house. I literally mean through your energy and your feelings and your thoughts and your desires and your intent and your will and your guts and your metal, all of these things put together are tells in what you tell yourself and what you make as your reality. And that's how you can be independent, free, loving, and abundant, as opposed to what's going on for most people these days.
Hmm. Yeah, man. The tell, right? The television, the greatest programmer of them all. Get in line again for the information. And we've just heard this so much in the last couple of years. It's really, really come out, hasn't it? That they don't want us. They're telling us that to our faces now. They do not want us thinking for ourselves. Literally, it's believe what we say, or you're a conspiracy theorist, or you're a terrorisms, or you're a whatever, right? You're a racisms. And that's obviously one of the big things they're doing at the moment is they're twisting this information about racisms. It's like if you're white, if you the color of us, Lorenzo and I, apparently you can't be racisms to other people.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, like, and this is what they're teaching kids at school. And you saw Lorenzo laugh, like, and this is what I keep trying to say. If you just think about these concepts for a few minutes, you should laugh because none of them make sense. And that's all we really need to do is just go, is that true? Rather than just taking stuff on and letting others build the lines in our mind and build, because that's what they're doing is they're building all these reference points, which turn into a line that's in formation, and lines lead somewhere.
Yeah.
They point you in a direction, and it's not a good direction. You just
Uh,
go watch some YouTube.
go the other way, in that, fighting the system, fighting people, fighting your neighbors, even fighting family members that have a desire to not be free by their very actions, not what their mouth says, not what their, books say, not what they tell you, but, you watch people, and that's the biggest tell, I think. You'll know them by their actions. A community and how they treat their children. You want to know how a community really is, watch how they treat their children. As Campbell said, what they're doing to them, right? And you can see it's easy to see evil, really is, because evil's not so smart. Evil is really, really, really dumb, right? And as soon as you want comfort and money and security, and you want to know the future, which is impossible, as soon as you want all these impossibilities, you can tell by that tell that it's silly to put your belief, your security, your desires, your trust. Let's just say that your trust in a system that doesn't love you, that doesn't care. Look what it's doing to the children. Look what it's doing to the old people. My parents they're old, they were weak, and they were coerced into taking their vaccines. Doctors don't care. Teachers don't care. Maybe some do, but if they're teaching bullshit for the money, they don't care. Or if they care more about their money, which means they care more about themselves, which means they're selfish, right? Which so
Like, yeah, like
which
yeah.
yeah, or if somebody's being paid to be on TV to give you information as a newscaster that's making $500,000 a year to stand there with their pretty hair and tell you what's up, because another job they get would be flipping burgers at McDonald's, you can tell. They're afraid of losing their job or their status or their security. So whatever they're sharing is not honest.
Yeah, it's true. Like you've got to think, where's this information coming from? Why is it coming at me? Why is it being pushed? And if any viewpoint is being pushed, you're being told something. One of my favorite sayings is if you're only getting 2 or 3 sources, choices,
Hmm.
then you're being told something. We see this all the time in elections, right? Right or left, and people think that's a choice. That's not a choice. That's you're being told something. And the other one is people are what they do, not what they say, which is what Lorenzo was talking about before. You just watch people, don't listen to what they say, or listen to what they say and then see what they do. And pretty quickly
Watch.
you'll go, they're full of it. They're
Yeah.
full of it.
Watch
Because everyone loves to tell you they know they got the answer. They've got the answer for you. We see this all the time. So, who are you getting your information from? Why is it coming to you? What is there an agenda behind it? Because the truth is 99% of the information we get that has an agenda. It really does. The only information you'll come across that has no agenda is talking to real people, conversing. We have an agenda, and it's to try and get this world better, to try and help people get to a better place, and to get people to ask better questions, have better thoughts, and go inside and trust themselves more than they trust the outside world. So yes, we have an agenda. Sorry.
Yeah, we do. My agenda is freedom. Our agenda is freedom. There's not so
Freedom.
many.
Yeah.
There's not so many loving real men that are willing to stand up and not get paid so much. I'll say it again. To help the world just because their hearts say it's true. We're Campbell and I laugh at all the people that says, I can't believe you're charging $10 for this, or I can't believe you're charging. Anyways, I don't want to go into the money thing. What I do want to get into, coming back, that's important while we're calling this one bugs in the system, is who has this agenda. That's something where our first one, bugs in the system, is one of the better, watched videos Campbell and I've made in a while, because maybe the bugs is non-human intelligence. Like, what would terraform the world? What would cover the sun? What would poison the water? What would make you want to eat bugs instead of healthy food? Campbell mentioned it before. Only bugs eat bugs, right? Only non-mammalian creatures hate the sun, right? Think of vampires or things that like hiding in the dark, right? Like things like that. So what would poison the water? Things that don't really need this kind of water. What would poison your food? What would put all these weird things in your wheat? What would push bad food to make you fat and lazy? I mean, Think about it. You fatten an animal before slaughter, right? I mean, it's the oldest thing in the book. Watch humanity. They're getting fatter. They're getting lazier. They're getting stupider
Yep.
everywhere, right? Not just Japan, right? Everywhere. I'll see a huge bud in yoga pants walking down the street. I go, oh, they've let the Gaijins back in town, or the North Americans, right? And you can see them, like, literally, I can see them blocks away, because, you see these huge bums or these huge bellies with covered in tattoos walking down the street. I mean, consider, like, I mean, use your eyes. Is that attractive? Use your guts. Not really, right? So what are these bugs in our system, and why are they bugging our system, and why is so much energy, effort, and non-stop information being pushed on you, thrown at you, till you're literally buried in a tsunami of shit.
Mm.
Have you ever asked yourself why? It's not about money. They make the money. People are going to go, oh, it's for the money. No. They already have all the guns. They already have all the money. They've already been taking all the gold and oil. They have all the resources. It's not about the resources, right? All the big companies, 8 big companies in the world, own 98% of everything, if you want to even look at it legally, which is all bullshit anyways. So they don't need resources. They don't need money. They don't need to maybe kill you, because that would be too easy. It's too easy to kill humans, right? Whatever. Poison the water. Everyone's dead tomorrow. Those planes in the air, spray some poison in the air, everyone's dead tomorrow, right? Suppose if they have nuclear weapons, which I don't believe, they could kill the world tomorrow, right? Whatever. So that's not the agenda. The agenda is something you can guess. It's something you're not being told, even by the disclosure specialists, even by people like Mr. Icky, even by people like by that other Australian guy. I forget his name now. I don't even like him, anymore. The guy with the accent, who used to do I forget his name now. He ran away to Mexico. He was used to,
Max Eigen.
yeah, even
Egan.
Max Igon, Mr. Egan, who, all these people, you talk to them, where are they now? Where are they when everything is horrible? Why aren't they standing up and sharing the honest things about freedom with you? It's reptilians. No, it's not, right? It's space aliens transforming before your eyes. You should hide. No, it's not. The challenge is hidden, always is. Fifth column, the challenge is inside you. It's the mind parasites. It's these things that get between your ears. And if you want to be free, I would say you have no choice but to debug yourself, delouse yourself, get rid of those parasites that are informing you, because they don't have your best interest, your love, your abundance, your safety, anything at heart, because I'm not even sure they have them. Hearts, that is.
Oh, no. Well, insects don't, do they? It's the only, mammals don't farm apart from humans. Only insects farm other animals.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about. Like, are we being farmed? Because the thing about all this is, like, what's the agenda of the governments? Does anyone know? Like, where are we headed? What is all this about? What's the final goal? Like, as a race of humans, where are we going? We're just blindly leading these people in government, in mind control, who we know what kind of people they are. We're just blindly leading them down the path to where? They haven't even told us. We get these kind of, we're going to Mars, we're
Yeah.
going here, we're going to do that. Oh, look, we're creating robots. What's the final agenda here? And do we agree to it? Because in our actions every day, going to work, doing this, we are agreeing to it. If we're conforming to, if we're falling in line to their information, then we're helping this agenda. But what is it? Have you ever asked yourself that? What is this agenda? Because what we see is, well, what we hear is it's all about economic growth and it's all about this and technology. But look around. Look around. This is what a lot of people don't consider a lot is results. They spend all this time, on the doing, but they don't consider where it's getting them and what the results are. So look at the results of humanity. Like Lorenzo was saying, look at people, in the 1900s, the men out there working on the railways or whatever, compared to now.
The lumber
Look
guy.
at the change. So what is really going on here? They're telling us one thing, but clearly something else is happening. And it looks like they want us all fat and stupid and not able to move far. So they're not trying to kill us, that they want us alive for something.
They're hurting
maybe
us.
They're feeding off they're hurting us into 15-minute cities maybe, while they terraform the atmosphere and things to make it more conducive to them. I mean, this is what it looks like, guys, but the information coming from out there will never tell you that. It's the information from inside that will tell you that, but you have to take the time to sit and think and look, and they don't want you to do that. That's why there's so much information from outside, right? Look at this, look at this, look at this. Oh my God, look at this. Look at what they're doing. Look what they're doing. Oh, there's war. Ah, but that's all crap. And when you understand that's all an agenda, you don't have to listen to it.
Yeah.
And you can look around and go, what's really happening here? And
Yeah.
and then when you find out, then you can start to solve the problem, because we can't fix anything unless we know what the problem is.
I mean, why can't people go to Antarctica? Why does every government in the world, just ask yourself, have a treaty that's supposedly at war? They've been at war for 100 years, but Russia, USA, North Korea, they've all agreed magically to this, magical land out there that you can't go there. And somehow they're still at war over here, but over there, they're all in agreement to what's going on. And the bugs come back into our system as soon as I'm talking about something real. Very, very interesting to see that, like
we mentioned Antarctica, man, and we got cut off.
and we get cut off. So, think about it, like just check. They tell you there's no inflation, yet in Japan over the last year, the prices have doubled. Oh, there's no inflation though, but the prices have doubled. So you can see, just call bullshit. You don't have to fight a politician. You don't have to argue. You don't have to look, you go, whatever they're saying is bullshit. All right. So it's not about it's not about keeping inflation down. It's not, I grew up with them going, it's about the economy. It's about the economy. Until Corona hit 2020. And then, it's not about the economy anymore. Let's forget about that. It's about the Ukraine. I haven't heard anything. It's not about that anymore. Now it's something, it's about this. Oh, no.
Yeah, whatever happened to the Ukraine?
Yeah, whatever happened to AIDS? Everyone was going to die of the sexual AIDS. It was sweeping the world. Everyone's, oh my goodness, we have to figure it out. All those poor, don't do, and then suddenly it's gone. No,
that
nothing.
was Dr. Ouchie, man. They brought him back for point 2 and take 2.
I mean, supposedly Fukushima, everything's going to die in Japan everywhere.
Yep. Same with Chernobyl. Yeah,
and Chernobyl, everyone's going to die.
Half of Europe.
Yeah, the whole ocean's dying. There's no water. It's all gone. We're running out of oil and this and that. It's all crap, people.
Just like 70s. In the 70s, literally, people were like, "Oh, this is the end of oil."
I remember my father lining up once before you go in.
50 years ago.
So now they have cars here that turn off when they stop to save energy. Literally, they turn off and they start again. And I've heard, of course, that spends more energy.
To turn it back on is more energy than to idle it.
Yeah, of course. And so now electric cars, which, you try charging, you can go 100 kilometers. Why do you think they're stopping the combustion engines? Because you could fill up on gas and you could travel.
Go as far as you want. You can
go as far as you want with a jerry can. You're done. You're free. Oh, no, that's dangerous. That you can't have wood burning stoves are dangerous to the world. Come on. Right. It's illegal for the smoke. Smoke is bad for you. Come on.
Yet they burn off every year in Australia.
Yeah. Come on. You have a hamburger that's horrible for the world. Horrible. Here, have this vegan double gluten, like I've seen this gluten patties they make where they wash this much flour to make that seitan that's called. I tried making it once. So basically the artificial meat is they take a whole bunch of flour, which is bad for you, condense it until you're left with the gluten, which is the worst part of flour for you.
Yeah.
And then, but it tastes like meat. Yeah, but think about it. You're putting
full of estrogen.
Yeah, and estrogen. So you're putting glue in your body, basically. Yeah. The soybeans that give men boobies. Right?
Yeah. And this is the thing, like, we're not saying vegan's bad, don't be a vegan, but if you're a vegan, this confused me. So I just don't get it. Vegan to me is it's about eating more vegetables, more natural raw foods.
Yeah.
It's not about how do I say it? It's not about just not eating meat, which means this is what we get now. We get vegans and they don't eat vegetables. They eat this fake meat stuff.
Yeah.
Or anything else that's made without dairy or meat. And that's not real food.
No.
But if they were, and that's why we're getting all these unhealthy vegans. It's because they're eating shit. It's just like a normal person. If they eat shit, they get sick too. Yeah. Same thing. But so that one just blows my mind that you get people who are, I'm a vegan, and you show them an apple and they're like, cool, what's that? That's like fruit.
Yeah, no, I remember someone getting angry with us because I was promoting yogurt. And oh my goodness, the poor cows, you're eating yogurt. It's like, what it really comes down to is you have to use your discernment. I mean, I can go on and on about, I saw a cooking show about somebody that grew up from I don't know, the Philippines or Vietnam and loved char siu, which is roast pork, but wanted to be a vegan. So he went through this whole process of putting bread and sugar and
Ah,
molasses
make it. Yeah,
and
yeah.
fake stuff together. And suddenly she's so everyone's hero because now you can eat vegan char siu. It's like, no, you can't. You know, char siu is roast pork. And this is a bunch of crap put together to kind of taste like something that maybe kind of imitates it. And probably the pork is healthier for you.
This is the thing. It would be, and this is what people are not getting. And there's such a push to, and it's all predicated on you can do this, you can't do that, isn't it? Like the information that I have says that you're bad if you do this,
Yeah, right.
but then in the end, they're actually doing more harm to themselves by eating that way.
Yeah.
And this is provable.
You know, if you don't want to eat pork, stop it. Doesn't mean you have to eat something that's like it. Do something else. You know, eat some
If
beans.
you want to, exactly, like it's a lifestyle change, and this is the thing. People want change, but they don't want to
Yeah,
change.
but they don't want to change. Yeah. Yeah.
You know? They
I'm
want everything around them to change. They just want to be sat there on their couch, like doing the same thing, but everything changes. The only thing to get change is to change. The only time things will
yes.
change is when you change. That's it.
And here's been a pet peeve of mine. I'm happy Campbell brought this up. Right. So many of the comments we get, so many of the comments I've gotten, so many of the comments of people that complain about our videos or even have something to share, they almost never, 99.9% of the time, talk about themselves. There's always no Jesus is going to save us, or this word means that, or you're wrong because of this point, or you know, if you went to this thought process, you would be more right, or if you stopped charging money or charging more money or charging less or moving to a different country. Nobody, almost nobody. You know, Campbell's one of the few people I know, and that's why I talk to him more than almost anyone else, that talks about changing themselves to change the world. And that's why none of the information you get other than these surface changes, like, you know, changing your eating or changing your schooling or changing your clothes or changing your hair, changing your sex, you know, nobody's really getting into the heart of the matter, which is changing your inner world, how you see things, how you create things. And that, in my opinion, is the only thing that's going to bring real change. And that's why we're going to take, you know, I'm going to take full circle. You have to debug your system because it's your system and you that's making your reality. Right? I don't care what anyone says. I
Mm,
don't care what anyone gives you. I don't care any of this information. You can't help but make your own reality. Even if you tell me you're not making your reality, and I've had a few people say, I can't believe you said it's so easy. Oh my goodness, you're tricking people. But then you're making that reality that you're not making reality.
exactly. They tell you why it's not working in their answer. They tell you, I don't believe you, and it's not working for me. Well, you just answered your own question.
Yeah.
All right. That's why it's not working because you don't believe it. And I just before you said that, I had something really good to say. What was I going to say? Something about debugging, um, and the mind. I don't know. You keep
No,
talking.
the
I'll
debugging
think.
in the mind. So the process is the mind, I've heard, is one way of processing information. You have your mind. Everyone knows about the mind. Everyone knows about their heart. Most people know about their guts. So you have mind, guts, thinking, loving, gut reaction, and then there's intuition, which is even beyond all of those. Where does intuition come? No one knows, right? You know, you could say it's your gut reaction. You can say it's a loving feeling. Sometimes intuition hits you as a vision in your mind. It does me sometimes. You know, I'll be sitting there and I'll get a picture of something I want to build, or a picture of something I want to create, or a picture of something I want to cook or sing or whatever, dance. Sometimes my guts tell me something's true. Sometimes my heart goes, oh, I love this. But where does intuition come from? That's an interesting question. You know, maybe that's why
Mm.
we're all being programmed, informed not to trust our intuition.
Yeah, yeah. The intuition, the tuition, the teachings within, in the teacher within. I mean, yeah. What is that? I mean, the creator, your higher self, maybe, but definitely it's something from you. It's not something from without, right? And this
Right.
is and this is the main teaching of all religions and all theosophy is it's know thyself and go within. That's
Yes.
literally the core teaching of everything.
All of
And
them.
but look around at religions. What do they tell you to do? They tell you it's the external things. Oh, you have to be at a certain building on a certain day, or else you don't go to heaven. You have to eat this certain thing on a certain day, or drink this drink, or you have to, dress like this. You have to do this thing. That's all external. That's all coming from people, men, not, men and women, right? That's their interpretation. That's the formation. That's them in formation. But
Mm,
that's not intuition. That's our tuition.
mm,
We need a word for that, right? Our tuition or something. But this is all about trusting yourself, because like we've been discussing is the bugs in your system are the system itself. It
mm,
wants to get in, and it wants to live in there and put all the, build the world basically that you see. It wants to build it for you with all these little bugs, and it'll be sitting there, and you know the voice, right, that says you can't do that. It's sitting there, right? So you might get some good information coming in, and then this voice will say, "Oh, don't be stupid. You're not smart enough. You're not tall enough. You're not this. You're not that." These are bugs too. But ask what that. Just say why. Of course I can. Someone else has done it. Like we can't listen to that information as well or take it on board, because we're kind of getting attacked on a couple of levels here, but the only answer is to trust yourself, to know yourself, and then trust yourself. And then everything else becomes pretty apparent that it's not you, and
mm.
it's things trying to have an influence on you, right? So yeah, to me, this is the biggest thing. To get rid of the bugs in your system, you need to know you've got bugs in your system, right? Which just means you need to spend time, you need to listen. And that's something that's been coming up in my experience over and over for the last month now, is listening, just sitting down and be quiet. And you don't have to sit down, you can go for a walk, but getting in nature and listening, sitting with trees, with rocks, this kind of thing. Because what that does is it cuts out the outside distraction, and you'll get all this stuff coming. But as soon as that's coming and there's no external source, you suddenly realize, oh, hang on, this is all just chatter.
Yeah.
This is just crap. And then you can start to find who you really are and what you really believe, and what's going to help you move forward,
Yeah.
because only you know that.
I've never seen anything more creative or beautiful than nature. This morning I went for a walk. I saw a cactus growing here and a huge flower on it, huge orange red flower as big as my head almost. And I'm looking at it going, who can do better than that? Who can create better than that? I mean, look how complicated even a flower is. And you're going, okay, the Jesus people, the religious people. So the creator made these. Look at nature. Look at what it's trying to share with you. The complicated beauty and wonder that comes from a seed, from nothing, from where? Who knows? From nowhere. Then try and a fat politician or a fat lady chef trying to teach you vegan, gluten-free tofu, donuts or whatever, and look at them and their purple hair and nose rings and tattoos. And, I saw a guy here, a Japanese guy with Bill or his name tattooed on his neck the other day, like Johnny, like just literally in English tattooed on his neck. And I'm like, all right. Isn't that interesting? What does he forget his name? He's got to look in the mirror and he's got to look in the mirror to remember his name. I mean, what I'm really getting at in all this is if you trust your feelings, you go for a walk in nature, as Campbell suggested, you see what something beyond a human is trying to share with you. Get good non-human information if you like, from not, look at nature. I listen to the crows every morning. I take a walk. They give me great advice. Look in a crow's eye. Look at how ruthless they can be. Yeah, become ruthless with yourself, right? Realize you're all going to die anyways. We are all got this appointment with death, unless we don't. So everything you're afraid of is going to come anyways, right? There's an end to your life. There's an end to your children's life. There's an end to this dream. There's an end to your monetary resources. There could be an end to whatever, right? So if you realize that it's coming anyways, maybe you can put those fears aside, sit with nature, as Campbell suggests, take a walk, talk to a tree, talk to a toucan, whatever. Listen to the wind if you're a lady. I hear winds talk to ladies because they've got special parts that winds talk to that men don't have. That's what I've heard as well. They've got also wombs, which is a second brain. That's probably why ladies are encouraged to have lots of Well, that's probably why ladies are being encouraged to have lots of partners these days, because they're
We're dumbing them down.
well, they're using their wombs for sexual pleasure instead of for what it's meant for, right? Maybe
Yeah.
dreaming, maybe considering, maybe growing.
The sacrum, the sacred, and
sacred, yeah.
Just as a side point, it's proven that when women, sleep around with multiple men, they take on, like, literally they get some of the DNA and it stays in them.
For 7 years, I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can imagine if you have a child after 70 people, that's not going to be a reflection of the dude you had the child with. It's going to be a reflection of everything you've done in the last 7 years. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, you dream your life. That's what it is. So if your dream is full of, multiple confusing DNA, let's say, or DNA or perspectives, you're going to have a confused child, right? If you're a confused parent, of course, at the time of conception, if you're afraid, if you're running, if you're crazy, if you're desperate, if you're needy, if you're wanting, if you're lacking love, so you're like, who knows, what is the reason if you're just having sex and oops, or if you're doing it with intention and purpose, you're going to have a different kind of being come into your life to share with you. It's all important, right? Everything you're doing, the intent behind everything, your food, your creation, your growing, what you're doing with life, it's the most important thing. It's not this chatter from this information, from this bullshit that comes from all these sources. I don't believe anything anymore. I don't believe any of my history. I don't believe anything my parents have told me. I don't believe anything anyone told me unless I can look in their eyes. I'm looking in Cambell's eyes. We're having a chat. I'm going, wow, a loving being, seems loving. He seems strong. He knows what he's talking about because it seems like he's doing something good for his life. I can trust, and then I can put that trust to the test by acting on things in my own life and seeing what I get. And that's how I'm debugging my system, by not taking anything for granted.
Yeah, me too. All we know is what we experienced. When you get down to it, that's it.
That's it.
All these experts and all these people who have read all these books and they can recite them, and all this, all the repeaters on TV, that's all they're doing is repeating. That's what we get trained for in school. And we all know this. We all know it's crap. We all know we've got to learn stuff that we never use again just to pass a test, and then we forget it. It's only there to train us into a way of thinking and into a reality that they want for us. That's it. Because like we said before, look around at what's actually happening to people here. They're not getting better. They're not getting smarter, richer, healthier. They're not. They're doing the opposite. So there's an agenda going on here. And the only way to get out of it is to go within, right? The way out is within. Right? Life is an inside job.
It is. And that's why we're talking about debugging the system. If you have bugs in your room, you want to get rid of them. Right? If you have bugs in your bed, you're going to get rid of it. Right? If you've got
It's a good analogy, right? What do people do when they get bugs? They spray bug spray.
Yeah. If you got an
infant, that might kill the bugs, but they breathe in the bug spray too.
Yeah, but it's your home. You want to clean. Yeah. People, if they have cockroaches in the house, they're going to get rid of them for the most part, right? If they have an infestation of ticks or fleas, they're going to get it off their dogs, get it off themselves. No one likes mosquitoes. I haven't met anyone who says, oh my goodness, I love mosquitoes. I'm going to hang out in the swamp and let them all bite me, right? You want to get rid of them. So if you want to do that on the outside, imagine these insects, these invaders, these bugs in our system that get into your system. So that's why most people don't want to hang out in their bodies, right? They're getting drunk or socializing or in their cell phones or video games or gambling or having sex or whatever, because their inside is horrible. Right, their inside is full of bugs. Of course, you don't want to hang out where there's bugs. So, that's part of what meditation is. Get rid of your bugs, you'll be more comfortable in your body. Get rid of bugs, you'll be more comfortable by yourself. Get rid of your bugs, your intuition will have a place to grow. Like you have a garden, you got to weed it first before things can grow. It's another analogy if you like. Yeah,
if you have a party and people turn up that you didn't invite, you tell them they can't come in or you kick them out.
Right.
But, same with the bugs, because they haven't been invited, right? But this is again, like we have to do it ourselves. If someone says, and listen to all the information, but make your own decision. If someone says, oh, well, the only way to debug is to do this, that may work for them. But this, like we keep saying, go inside, work out yourself, get information, and use what resonates, whatever feels good. Get your knowledge in formation so it works for you.
All right. Maybe we've come to a conclusion in this lovely talk. I think we have. It was a long one. I could go on for another few hours, but what I want to say with this one is please like and subscribe. Come to our Patreon page. I'll leave it below. See us this Friday, or our Friday, it's your Thursday if you're in North America. We're going to continue this chat live. Debugging your system, information, what it means, formation, informants. I love that. It's going to be our chat. Join our Patreon between now and Friday. You can talk with us live if you're brave and if you're daring enough to come on. $10 a month. You can talk with us every week that we say so anyways, and we can make it and all these things. I'll put a little caveat and it works out for everyone. And you can have this chat with us. You can grow with us. You can join our community. You can see with us. You can help your story along as we're talking about as well. Make your own story. through, I would say, first chapter, get rid of the bugs. I walk in a house, I see bugs, I want to get rid of them. Perhaps you do too.
Yeah. A clean life. We need this, right? They used to anoint the bodies and all this kind of stuff to do
Right.
this.
Smoke.
They used to cast out the serpents, right? The parasites.
What do
Maybe.
they smoke, right? If you have smoke, it keeps the mosquitoes away, right? It keeps the
Your
bugs
smoke
away.
keeps the mosquitoes away. Yep, the bells kept away the trolls, right? All this
Bells keep the trolls away, right? This is like nobody even knows the real origins of religion, right? The real origins of Shintoism in Japan. You go back. Even Egypt, where they studied, what they've hid were the temples of the nose, right? The nose. You can smell bullshit. The smell test. Yeah. So now they say smell is bad. We can cover this, but smell is not. Oh, you're smelly. It smells. Automatically, we've been informed that's a bad thing. But actually, if you can smell a stink, if you can smell a person, you can smell some food. The smell is probably the biggest and best and most accurate sense you have, I would say.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't lie unless you're lying to yourself.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. The nose knows, right? Maybe we should have to, we might have to get into that one as well.
Right, because I've heard a lot of,
that.
There's a lot of temples in Egypt that were dedicated to smell, and people,
we have this, all these statues that have had their noses smashed off. There's hundreds and hundreds of them. Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I'm going to leave this too. I've heard as well the opposite. We say smell particles are coming to us, right? That's how we smell. That's what science is telling us. Everything's opposite. I've heard from a lot of esoteric practices, we put energy out through our nose and touch things, feel them like a snake with that. So we actually, it's a sense that goes beyond. It's a sense that goes beyond our thoughts. It's a sense that gets
information and comes back, kind of thing.
It's a sense like if you smell something, then the thought comes. The smell comes first. So if you trust in that, somebody stinks, right? This food doesn't smell good. You go into a room, there's crazy perfume that's artificial, stuff like that turns your stomach. You smell the water, the chemicals right away. We've just been taught to not trust. The masks are probably masking the smells that everyone still wears. Crazy moronic idiots masking their children's like they're trying to be healthy just in case. So we'll talk about this one another time. The nose knows so much beautiful stuff, so much great stuff. Yep. We'll get into it.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
So there we go. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe, share this around, all that good stuff. Join our Patreon, all links below, and come join us on Friday when we're live, or Thursday if you're in North America.
That's right. We love you all very much. Thanks for being here. Debug your system. Comments, like, subscribe, all intelligent contributions are welcome.
Love you all. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Was enough.